All right, it is 6 p.m. on this April 10th, so I'll call this town council meeting to order. Welcome to all those in attendance and those tuned in online. Welcome to Professor Hodges' class, once again to the chambers. We welcome y'all to a little local government. You got a short meeting tonight. I don't think we have any real actionable items, but we appreciate you being here and participating. Ms. McKay, can we do a roll call, please?
Mrs. Amos.
Here.
Mr. Reed.
Here.
Mr. Dwyer.
Here.
Mr. Parrott.
Here.
Mr. Yolen.
Here.
Mr. Hunter.
Here.
Mr. Hardy.
Here.
Thank you. We'll roll into the invocation, which I will lead. You're welcome to join if so inclined. You're welcome to not. It's up to you. And then we'll roll into the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Mayor Mr. Reed.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. First item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
I make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is declaration of personal interest. Do we have anyone who wishes to make a declaration of personal interest concerning items on the agenda at this time? Not hearing any, we will close that out. And now the next up is presentation of a proclamation. We will be recognizing April as National Poetry Month. I believe Miss Vicki Page from the Friends of the Library was unable to be here, but Mr. Rick Ewing from the library is here. So I'll read the proclamation and then present it to Mr. Ewing. Proclamation in recognition of April as National Poetry Month, whereas the Academy of American Poets established the month of April as National Poetry Month in 1996, and whereas National Poetry Month seeks to highlight the ongoing achievement of American poets by introducing Americans to the pleasures and benefits of reading poetry, by bringing poets and poetry to the public in immediate and innovative ways, and by making poetry an important part of our children's education. And whereas, as National Poetry Month, under the leadership and direction of the Academy of American Poets, is now the largest literary celebration in the world. And whereas poetry enriches the lives of all Americans, and whereas poetry, as an essential part of the arts and humanities, affects every aspect of life in America today, including education, the economy, and community pride and development. And whereas poetry has produced some of the nation's leading creative artists and has inspired other artists in fields such as music, theater, film, dance, and the visual arts. And whereas National Poem in Your Pocket Day will be celebrated on April 18th. Poems will be available at the Farmville downtown businesses, Longwood University's Greenwood Library, Hampton-Sydney College's Bortz Library, and at Centra Southside Community Hospital. Now, therefore, it is proclaimed by the mayor and Town Council that the month of April be recognized as National Poetry Month in the town of Farmville, Virginia, in honor of poets across America that share their talent with the world. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Farmville, Virginia, to be affixed on this 10th day of April in the year 2024. So there you go, Mr. Ewing. Would you like to collect the proclamation? All right, thank you. I was just telling Ms. McKay earlier, when I was a young man, my father was killed active duty. I was about 14. My grandmother at that time handed me an empty journal and gave it to me and said, you know, you may not want to speak about what you're feeling, but you can at least write it down. And so I used that book as a place to write my emotions, and which eventually turned into poetry. So I have a very soft spot in my heart for this National Poetry Month. Next up, we have public hearing. We have the public hearing on the adoption of resolution number 2024-0401 for the FY 2024-2025 town budget. Ms. McKay, do we have anyone signed up?
No one has signed up.
Do we have anyone in attendance who wishes to speak on the town budget? Not hearing any, we'll close that public hearing. Next public hearing is adoption of resolution number 2024-0402, capital improvement plan. Do we have anyone signed up to speak on that?
No one has signed up.
All right, we'll close that public hearing. Both of those resolutions will come before this body next month. Town budget can be found online yet? Can it be found online, or can you just request it through Ms. McKay's office? Just request it through Ms. McKay's office. All right. Next item is the public comment period. Do we have anyone signed up for public comment period on non-agenda items?
Raya Bejor.
Good evening. I would like to just start out by thanking you all for your time. I am here to speak on behalf of my group in a political science class at Longwood University, focusing on access to rural healthcare. There are many barriers to people accessing healthcare, such as transportation and distance, along with health insurance coverage to list a few. About 60 million Americans live in rural areas, and between the years of 2013 and 2020, 4% of hospitals have been closed, resulting in people having to drive upwards of 24 miles to get to the nearest hospital. It is also important to note that many rural areas tend to also have a higher elderly population who do not always have easy access to a vehicle or other sources of transportation to get them to the hospital. Lack of healthcare coverage is also another problem rural citizens face. This is because of premiums for healthcare insurance tend to be higher in rural areas, a consequence of the lower populations. A suggestion to help individuals gain easier access to healthcare comes from Old Dominion University, where they provided healthcare to underserved communities. This was a student-run clinic that traveled around by RV and stationed themselves at schools, community centers, and fire stations. Many of the patients who received healthcare through this clinic were uninsured and faced transportation barriers. This clinic saw 100 adults between May and November, along with 500 children for physicals. My suggestion would be to partner with Longwood to help fund a transportable clinic that can serve individuals in Farmville and surrounding towns who have a difficult time accessing healthcare. This transportable clinic could be set up in areas accessible through the Farmville area bus. Not only would something like this benefit individuals in need of healthcare, but it would also help Longwood University nursing students gain even more experience working with individuals before they graduate. With all that being said, I would like to thank you all once again for your time and your consideration. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Usually I say this beforehand, so I'll do it now as I forgot. You do have 3 minutes. When you come up, please state your name. You can state your address or just state if you're just a Longwood student. And it is a public comment period where we're just here to hear your thoughts, your concerns, so there's not a back and forth exchange. But that's kind of just the guidelines, just to lay them out there for you as we go forward. Ms. McKay?
Aislinn Craig.
Hello, my name is Aislinn Craig. I am a student at Longwood University and currently taking Dr. Hodges' political science class. In my group, we are focusing on special education, specifically in Prince Edward County schools and in rural areas like Farmville in general. While I do understand that you are not in charge of the Prince Edward County School District, many of the students who go to school in that district do live in Farmville County, and from many points of view, that would make them in a lot of ways your responsibility to look out for these students. And recent statistics have shown that at Prince Edward County high schools are significantly below the state of Virginia at large when it comes to test scores on math, reading, science, history, every single category. Where Prince Edward County was below the state of Virginia in their test scores, especially for students with disabilities. This is something that impacts not only the students but the next generation, because who's gonna take care of us when we're old if not the people who are young right now? One thing that my group and I have discussed is potentially having some kind of after-school program or support program for students when they come home. One thing that is very difficult for these students often is that they come home to lower income houses. 69% of all students in Prince Edward County high schools are Title I students, as in below the federal poverty line. So potentially having some kind of program that addresses Title I or other issues could potentially be very helpful for those students and even for the community at large, which, as someone with a disability, ADHD, would mean a lot to me, means a lot to our group, and I think would be good for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McCabe?
Sarah Mitchell.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and I am a student here at Longwood University, and I have been tasked to complete a civil action project for Dr. Hodges' political science class. Closer to it? Is that better? Okay, sorry. Like I was saying, I am in Dr. Hodges' political science class. The topic that my group chose was domestic violence, specifically to find the resources we have here in Prince Edward County and see what we can do to help bring awareness to this issue. What I was soon to discover was unexpected. In my search for what resources are available, I found out in Prince Edward County, we have very little offer. In my search, I found Madeline's House, which is a women's shelter that was forced to shut down in 2022. The Southside Center for Violence Protection were the current owners of Madeline's House at the time and were struggling financially when the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services pulled funding they ultimately had to close, leaving Prince Edward County without safe housing for women victims. At the end of 2023, STEPS, a local not-for-profit organization that offers many types of resources to the Prince Edward County area, became the new owners. However, in my attempts to contact them, I was left waiting for 7 days to hear back. And when I did have a phone interview with one of their staff members, I gathered very little new information. I recently tried to contact them again on March 27th in hopes they would join me to speak today. However, I have not heard back since. I have also met with the Longwood University Police Department to see what information they offer victims, and in this meeting, I was handed a pamphlet with outdated information on resources and legal help. When I asked the officer if Madeline's House was still up and running, they told me they did not know but believe so, which was incorrect information. As we all know, Madeline's House is currently closed. According to the CDC, 1 out of 4 women and 1 out of 7 men experience domestic violence throughout their lifetime. That means that people in our community, our neighbors, and our family members could be in need of help. And from what I've experienced through my struggle to find resources, it's going to be extremely difficult for them. Leaving an abusive household can be the hardest step, and if you are in need of safe housing, the closest option is in Goochland, Virginia, about 55 minutes away, at Goochland Cares, where they provide many resources to victims, including emergency housing. Regardless of whether Madeline's House may be up and running at the end of this year, this will still be the case for male victims. I can only hope they have some form of transportation to get there. My journey over these past few months of searching for resources have left me feeling unfulfilled and frustrated, as this issue is something I feel strongly about. Throughout this project, I have had a couple of ideas of ways we may be able to give better access to these resources. The possibility of starting a website that directly lists every resource available in Prince Edward County, as well as transportation to a safe house if needed. Because if a victim does not have access to transportation, they will be unable to leave their situation. I hope you consider my group's thoughts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Manuel Rodriguez.
Hello, council members. My name is Manuel Rodriguez, and I'm a student from Longwood. And I'm here to spread awareness of the problem that is mental health among high school students. And this is an issue that's increasing among many all around the world, including America. And an article by Cambridge.com mentions how 70% of students think anxiety is a big problem based on a survey from the Pew Research Center, with anxiety and depression being some of the biggest issues they face. It's also unfortunately estimated that 49.5% of students and adolescents have had a mental health disorder at some point in their lives, according to an article from the Office of Population Affairs. I've also known a bunch of people who've faced mental health issues, and it's pretty heartbreaking to see them deal with this problem. Depression and other mental health problems are become way too common, and there needs to be steps taken to reduce this or to give people the resources they need to help with those issues. There are multiple factors that can lead to that, like pressure from school, like to succeed, or like societally, social media, and for some is there's still like lingering effects from like COVID. The reason I bring this topic up is because I believe y'all as members of this council have an opportunity to address this problem, as all of you are in leadership positions that talk to a larger crowd and one with more power than the average person. Maybe to spread the topic can lead to other bills that can help these issues, bills like the VA House Bill 181, which changes the school counselor ratio from 1 to 325 students to 1 for 250 students, could be made. One idea is to have like mandatory mental health classes or courses be taught to students or teachers, so they can know what they should be looking forward if they see a student like having problems, or push other mental health groups like the Mental Health Service Division. Having programs in schools give out important info to both students and parents would also be helpful to inform them also about signs they should look for, and teach them how to address the problems, how to best comfort and support their child or student. Thank you for your time. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Evelyn Hernard.
Hello, Town Council members. My name is Evelyn Hennard, and I'm a Longwood student. As a part of a class project, my group and I have chosen the issue of literacy and COVID rates within Prince Edward County, collectively as a whole for our class. We have selected this issue because we recognize that literacy plays an essential role in ensuring that everyone has a fair chance at receiving a proper education, but also allows individuals the chance to prepare for their future. The impact on literacy from COVID-19 has been seen throughout the country, but I would like to focus on our state of Virginia, since this reflects Prince Edward County's numbers as well. In the fall of 2019, students who scored below the benchmark on the PALS testing in Virginia were notably lower. In fall of 2020, the PALS scoring showed students scoring below the benchmark increased significantly, and by fall of 2021, students scoring below the benchmark remained elevated. In the fall of 2022, approximately 34.9% of students were identified high risk for reading difficulties. This may not sound like a lot, but is equating to 232,982 students in the state of Virginia, an increase of 25,765 students compared to the fall of 2020. The pandemic has made the impact on literacy span across different backgrounds, showing us that it is very important we keep our eyes on the issue and make literacy intervention a priority to help students in Prince Edward County. I would ask each member, while thinking about all the information I just gave tonight, that you remember literacy is an important tool. Investing in it means investing in a brighter future for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marla Lopez.
Good afternoon. My name is Marla Lopez, and I'm a student at Longwood University. And as part of my civil action project, I've been tasked with informing you all about substance abuse in the area. In Prince Edward County, 26.1 deaths per 100 people are linked to opioids. And from 2019 to 2022, there were 14.4 drug overdose deaths per 100,000 people in the county. From 2021 to 2024, mental health, alcohol, and drug abuse services use increased from 9.1% to 13.9%. This is an issue because Farmville, according to my group's research, as of now does not have its own sets of laws or codes towards drug abuse and mainly follows state and federal laws that only cover alcohol abuse and not drug abuse, which is equally important. Resources for those who suffer from substance abuse aren't as accessible either, with the most reliable rehabilitation services being approximately 50 minutes away, if not more. In 2022, Prince Edward County won a portion of the $99.3 million settlement against Janssen Pharmaceuticals, which was responsible for the misinformation about opioids in the state. And while this is a start to tackling the problem, one of the possible solutions that the county has stated is using this money to fund drug courts. Currently, those who suffer from substance abuse in the area get arrested and go to jail rather than receiving help, and these drug courts would be an alternative for this issue. A drug court or similar rehabilitation program located here in the town of Farmville would be a tremendous help, not only for Farmville residents, but those in the surrounding communities who also don't have equal accessible resources. So today I ask you to please consider and support the establishment of these drug courts in the area, or overall just more rehabilitation services for those in need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Red Wise.
Good evening, members of the Town Council. I'm Rhett Weiss. I am not a Longwood student, although my grandparents once taught there many years ago. I live at 809 4th Avenue here in Farmville. You may recall that roughly a year ago, I came before you to commend the town and the Farmville Police Department on the basic Citizens Police Academy course, which I took, which was outstanding. This year, I had the opportunity to take the advanced course, the Advanced Academy, and likewise, it was outstanding. So I'm just here to thank the Town Council and the Police Department for making that available to us. It was really another great example of how fortunate we are in this community to have this police department, very professional, very engaged. I have no idea what this course costs. I know it's free to those of us who take it, but I'm sure there's an expense to it. It can't be put on for free. The advanced class involves, as you may know, a mock crime scene, a crime investigation, and it was done at the Fireman's Arena. The course goes on for several weeks, but the crime scene was 2 different nights, and really just fascinating. Really enjoyed it. So knowing that it had to cost someone something to put this course on, I would like Chief Ellington, if he's not, is he here? Who was here? Well, Captain Hogan, perhaps, instead, to come up. And just like to give something, donate something to the police department to help defray the costs of whatever it is to put on this course. So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amari Patterson.
Hey, how y'all doing? Hi, I'm Amari Patterson. I go to Longwood University. I'm representing my group from my political science class. I got 2 main talking points, and that's it, y'all, I swear. So the first one is policies. We're talking about drug use, like substance abuse and all that. Millions of people are suffering silently, and it's like a issue everyone knows about substance abuse, obviously. And 1 in 3 people in our day and age are suffering, vaping, smoking, y'all know. And my second talking point is like the options. There's options up the street, but some people don't even know about the options on campus, and we are there every day. I ask people, I'm like, oh, there's like a, AA thing. I'm like, what are you talking about? So yeah, this is a college town, and more students and people are gonna be coming here, so people can just get affected. And this isn't just like a college issue. This is the whole city of Farmville. So I was just wondering, like, what options y'all have. I know y'all can't answer questions, but I was just trying to let y'all be aware and let y'all know. But finishing school is already hard, but having like a substance abuse issue makes it even harder. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
No one else has signed up.
All right. Well, Chief showed up in time to collect the check. Thank you, Mr. Weiss, for that acknowledgement. Next up on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
I make a motion we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is the finance report. Ms. Julie Moore for March 2024.
Good evening. You have the March finance report in front of you. For the ABM project, we earned $17,134 for the month of March. And again, that's going to go towards payment, so we don't really count that money. We earned $16,432 at VIP, so that means we've earned $146,707 for fiscal year 24 with VIP. We earned $20,652 in March in the benchmark sweep account, so we've earned $187,259 since we've been investing in the sweep accounts. And then for LGIP for March, we earned $34,926. So for just fiscal year 24, we've earned $324,691 with LGIP. So for the month of March, excluding the ABM income, we earned $72,010. Any questions?
Do you have any questions for Ms. Moore at this time? Sounds like we're good. Thank you. This time, I entertain a motion to accept the finance report as presented.
I move that we accept the finance report as submitted.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we currently do not have any old business on the agenda, nor do I believe we have any new business on the agenda, which would take us right into Mr. Davis's town manager report.
I promise next month you'll have a lot of new business items to discuss. Just a few things, spring cleanup. So for whoever in the community is listening, is going to be Monday, May the 6th. So get your stuff out and make sure you don't put things out that we can't take though. So you'll see that in the water utility bill, and we'll have that in the newspaper as usual. I'm hoping to have VDOT come at the May work session to give an update from a recent meeting I had with them about the Green T intersection project that is that's been funded by Smart Scale for future years, and then also an update on the roundabout project, which has been funded for future years. Just to give you an idea about that, just to keep it on your radar, it is going to be put out to bid as far as the construction of it for the companies in the fall of 26, and construction will begin in the spring of 27. Hurt and Profit, as you know, we have been working with them to get a infrastructure for our water and sewer infrastructure. They believed that we might have more on our GIS, but that was the reason we hired them. But we're to get some of that information, and I told you when we did the initial that we would probably be coming back with an amendment to that contract so that we can get more things for our infrastructure knowledge. And so we'll be coming back hopefully next month, and they'll be doing a survey on every manhole so that we have exactly a roundabout age range of each manhole, where it's located, and also they can look in those pipes in the manhole through the pipes to see exactly what's leading to that, and to give us an idea of the age leading to that manhole, which is all important for us to look at when we're doing this to replace lines in the future. So, and then also fire hydrants, make, model, name, make, model, year, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot to go into this whole package. And then once it's done, though, the good part is We'll have it all up to date in one package, one place to look, and then we'll be able to access it internally from our GIS and have that, and we'll be able to update it as we make those changes and in fixing things along the way. The other positive is we don't have to worry about trying to find out what the age of the water meters are going to be, because they get ready to all be new, so they won't have to worry about that. Disabled cars that we have been working with automobile repair service slots in town. We have seen some improvement of some of those being cleaned up, but there's still more to do to meet the FEMA requirements, especially on the West 3rd Street end that they're in the floodplain. So we'll be continuing to push that. As was mentioned before, we have a Longwood Avenue issue, an issue on Longwood Avenue, not a Longwood Avenue issue. One parcel has a fence that is a public safety issue of being for visibility, and the other is they have disabled vehicles and clutter in their yard, and the time has lapsed for both of those, and so we're working with Mr. Elder to go to the next step, which is we'll be seeking the court's help in getting those remediated. And then also, as you know, this next week, the conditional use permit will be coming up about the solar project, and then we'll have that before you along with the other ordinances from the work session. Also at the next regular meeting. At the next work session, we had a discussion last week about conditional use permits, and it's how it can be, we can amend certain zoning districts and add conditional use permits. And so at the work session, I thought it would be healthy, after reflecting on the conversation, kind of us going over what a conditional use permit is, all the details of it, and some of the ramifications, pros and cons of that, so that y'all make an informed decision about what you want to do next steps. And the only other thing I would like to do is, Mayor, I'm going to ask Chief Ellington to come up. I think he has a challenge for everybody.
Welcome, Chief.
Good evening, everyone. Mayor, Dr. Davis, thank you for allowing me the time to break into your meeting and do this, but I feel very dear to my heart that this is very important. I know most of you are already aware of the very difficult news that has recently affected our department. Our dedicated communications operator, Winky Blanton, has been diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer. Winky had surgery on April 2nd, 2024 as a part of her treatment. She did very well. In fact, she was released last Thursday to return home. Much to my surprise, she walked into my office this past Monday morning. This news is devastating to all of us in the department. Winky is not just a colleague, but a valued member of our close-knit team and family of Blue. During this challenging time, it is crucial that we come together to support her in every way possible. Thoughts and prayers are with Winky and her family as she prepares for her journey towards recovery. I urge everyone to offer your support and encourage to Winky as she faces this difficult battle, whether sending a text, message of support, a cell phone call, helping with tasks, or simply being there to listen to her. Your kindness and solidarity will make a difference during her treatment and recovery. She will begin chemo and radiation treatments in the next 2 weeks. With this said, I've done a lot of thinking over the last couple of weeks. Again, it's hit very close to home, so I just wanted to do something as a team to try to help Winky along the way. She's gone on short-term disability. It's going to be financially challenging for her as well as her health. So with that said, I went to Dr. Davis this week, and he got with the mayor. And I wanted to bring a challenge not only to council, but the entire team, all the employees within the town of Farmville, and anyone who they want to reach out to. But I'm offering a challenge. Starting today, I got my last haircut. I'm going to let my hair grow Hopefully, it'll only take till May 23rd at our town picnic. If we can successfully raise between all town employees and anyone else that's listening tonight in the audience, $5,000 by May 23rd at 12 o'clock, I have arranged to shave my head. So with that said, please help me raise this amount of money. I know we can do it. I don't think we can do it. It will be done. And I think it will make a world of difference to her and her family. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. And I have also approached our town treasurer, finance manager, and she is willing to collect all funds. So any checks, please make to Helene Blanton, or cash. I don't think we can do credit cards, but she's going to maintain these funds until we can turn it over to Winky. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
I will, the only person that knows this is Andy. He came to me the other day, and I thought about it. And I said, you know what? If the police chief can do this, if we raise $10,000, I will shave my head at the picnic.
I love it.
I'm going to break my wallet out tonight.
I'm bringing the Clippers.
And
That's fantastic.
money goes to Miss Moore, Julie Moore.
All the money, please
Yes.
deliver to the treasurer's office, and she will take care of it, and we'll see that it gets in Winky's hands.
I have no doubt that the town will rally, as it often does, to look out for its own. So thank you, Chief, for bringing this to everybody's attention.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see Mr. Davis with a shaved head. Anything else in your report, Mr. Davis?
Other to close on, and that is next week is Emergency Communication Operators Week, or Telecommunicators Week. So keep them thinking about them next week. If you want to bring them something, maybe a meal or just a thank you card for all that they do. They're the lifeline for all of public safety. So we appreciate their work. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Davis. At this time, I'll go around the dais, and I think I got Mr. Parrott in a new spot for the evening, so I'll call on Mr. Parrott first.
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Hardy?
I'm good, thanks.
Mr. Hunter?
I'm good.
Mr. Yolen?
I'm going to try this with the mask on, see how it works. I just want to commend and applaud all y'all for showing up tonight. And public speaking is hard. It took me years to be able to say this much. Thank you for coming out and doing your best. And I think y'all did well, really well. So,
Mr. Dwyer?
I agree. I appreciate you being here. For those seniors who won't be back next year, we will miss you, but best of luck. Mr. Davis, does the beard come off too?
Mr. Reed?
I don't have anything.
Ms. Amos?
I have received 3 text messages saying they're going to donate $1,000 to see bald heads.
That's awesome. It's already happened. Mr. Doug Stanley, I see you've graced us with your presence. Did you have anything that you wanted to report tonight, sir?
Real quick, I apologize. I was at the Prince Edward soccer game. It's in overtime right now, so playing Randolph Henry. But if I can pass, I won't hit on everything. Just a few items. Our FY 24-25 budget, Mr. Mayor, members of council, the Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on the budget and tax rates on April 16th at 7 p.m. As proposed, there are no increases in tax rates. Our budget does include a 3% across-the-board increase for county staff and an increase in the minimum salary from $12 to $13.50 per hour for folks on the lower end of the scale. Prince Edward County has applied for a $16.97 million grant from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership. The project will construct a 12-inch water line from the town system to the new proposed 1 million gallon water tank on Persimmon Tree Fork Road. The project will also provide funding for a water line from the proposed Sandy River Reservoir to the water tank, and also hopefully would provide funding for an option on adjacent property to allow us to market a larger data center site. On March 5th, DEQ held a public hearing at Prince Edward County High School on the draft permit application for the Sandy River permit. I appreciate it. I talked to the town manager, but I believe Scott was going to write a letter of support for that. We had about 7 people speak positively. One, the town manager of Crew, had some negative comments, but also agreed that if that we were selected, they would be willing to partner with us for providing water to the state facilities. We have submitted a proposal to DGS to serve those facilities. We provided 4 different proposed water rates based on whether we can serve the state facilities and also the towns of Crew and Burkeville and the Hip Park. So we'll hopefully find out here in the coming months where we stand with that. 2025 general reassessment, which impacts the town as well. We're about 50% complete. Hopefully be finished up this fall and go to the Board of Equalization. That'll impact both of our tax rates next year. So I'll keep Scott posted on the progress on that as well. We have applied for a $1.7 million grant for the Assistant Firefighters Grant to purchase radios for our new proposed radio system. Our Connects broadband project, as of March 1st, a total of 261 miles of middle mile fiber have been installed in Prince Edward County with 2,959 passings of homes and businesses, and 495 people have been connected to that system. Our radio system, last night's board meeting, the board did approve the lease purchase agreement. Of course, you guys are going to pay cash for that part of the project, but we will be doing a lease purchase for the county portion, the Longwood portion, and the Hampton-Sydney portions of the project. The only other thing I wanted to touch on, we were contacted by Brightspeed. That's the company that owns the former assets of CenturyLink. Brightspeed is looking to submit a broadband equity access and deployment, or BEAD access grant, for $6.7 million. It would provide an upgrade from copper wire to fiber for about 641 residents and businesses in the Farmville area. A lot of these locations are areas that may have access from Shentel, but the current CenturyLink system is copper, so it doesn't support high-speed internet. So these are kind of closer into town and parts of town. I'll keep Scott posted on that. They've talked about wanting to get a letter of support from the county for this, but these are folks that it may provide another option as far as a cost perspective, but certainly in some of the cases would provide faster internet speed for home and business use. So that's all I really have. The rest of the report's there, Mr. Mayor, and be happy to answer any questions for you.
Have any questions for the County Administrator, Mr. Stanley, at this time? Not hearing any. We appreciate you rolling over here. What was the score of the game?
2-2 in overtime. So.
Oh, nice.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'll close it out. Luckily I had a quiet end to my March after a really busy March. And then the only real meeting I had for the last 2 weeks was a strategic alliance meeting about the Prince Edward County school system, which I was happy to attend with many of the leaders, business leaders, and elected leaders concerning the public school system. It was a good update to hear how things are coming along there. At this time, I will say there was a reference from the public comment about Madeline's house. I know Steps has taken over Madeline's house, but I think they're waiting for some funding congressionally to stand it up. So if you reach out to them, they may have a little more information for you concerning that piece. Outside of that, don't have much to report. I think May is going to be significantly busier, as Mr. Davis alluded to. We'll have a full agenda full of actionable items in May. So if you don't feel like you got your full municipal fill tonight, feel free to come back, visit next month, second Wednesday of the month. We're always here. And at this point, we will move into a closed session. The closed session will perhaps have some actionable items coming out of it. I don't suspect we'll be in there too terribly long. So you're welcome to hang out or roll out at your discretion. But at this time, I'll call on Mr. Hardy to read us into closed.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the Farmville Town Council convene in closed meeting pursuant to the Code of Virginia in accordance with the provisions of paragraph A1 of section 2.23711 for the discussion and consideration of prospective candidates for appointments to the Farmville Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second.
Motion and second. Ms. McKay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Reed,
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer,
Yes.
Mr. Parrott,
Yes.
Mr. Yolen,
Yep.
Mr. Hunter,
Yes.
Mr. Hardy,
Yes.
Mrs. Amos.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll see y'all shortly. All right. Mr. Dwyer?
Whereas the Farmville Town Council has convened a closed session meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by Farmville Town Council that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity of Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Farmville Town Council hereby certifies, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed session meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Farmville Town Council.
Second.
Motion and second. Could we get a roll call, please, Ms. McKay?
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
All right. Do we have a motion concerning the appointment to the Planning Commission?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the application from Ms. Jen Fraley for Ward A for the Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion and second. Do we need, is this informal? Do I need to do a roll call? Informal? All right. Roll call. Roll call, please, Ms. McKay.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
Mr. Yolen?
Yep.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
The motion passes.
Do we need, we don't have a, is there a reappointment or is the no, okay, good. All right, next up is, do I hear a motion to make a recommendation concerning the Board of Zoning Appeals?
I would like to recommend John Miller to be the Planning Commission's representative on the Farmville Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second.
What you
Can you just make can you revise that to say you make it a recommendation to the circuit court?
I'd like to amend that to say a recommendation to the circuit court.
Second. Amend.
Motion and second. Ms. McKay, could you get a roll call, please?
Mr. Yolen?
Yes.
Mr. Hunter?
Yes.
Mr. Hardy?
Yes.
Mrs. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Reed?
Yes.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Mr. Parrott?
Yes.
The motion passes.
All right, thank you. Do we have any other business that needs to come before this council at this time? Not hearing any, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
To move.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.